Hey, you wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim.
California dreaming.
Hello. Welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thank you so much for listening to me on this lovely Mayday. We're going down. We're going down, everybody. The whole ship's going down. What's the ship? America. Or the planet? I guess. I mean, the planet's going to be fine. I mean, they're barring the climactic catastrophe that's coming, or, you know, a giant volcano could do it, caldera. Anything that puts a lot of soot into the atmosphere, like a nuclear war, anything like that, all that stuff. But why am I talking about the end of the world when it clearly isn't? The world is still here, guys, and it's not so bad. If you're listening to this, you might have a job. You might have an electronic device that allows you to listen to it. You have functioning ears. You know, you probably have one of those things, and that's pretty cool. You know, if you think about just think about, like, taking one of those away. Like, say you have a job. Think about not having a job, right? Or think about if you lost your hearing. All of that would be suck. All of that would be suck. That's what the kids say now. And I'm trying to sound like the kids because that's really where the future is, guys. The children are the future in the sense that they're going to figure out that the adults have failed them and they're going to turn on us. They're going to turn on us and they're going to try to eat us, or at least put us all in prison, some kind of camps. There's going to be like a lot of ritual shaming going on. I foresee that happening, like a rounding up, kind of like a cultural revolution-esque kind of roundup of undesirables. Maybe it'll start in our generation. Maybe what we'll do is round up all the racists. You know, like, let's round up the racists. We can all get together on that, right? Let's round them all up, right? Because we all agree that racists are bad. And racists all deserve to be rounded up and put into camps and re-educated. That's what we'll do with them, right? We're not going to murder them or kill them. We're just going to round them up. Intern them like we did the Japanese, right? We didn't murder the Japanese. We just put them in a cage for a bit because we were like, we need to keep an eye on you guys. You know, and maybe that's what we need to do with racists. Okay, I might be onto something here with this racist internment camp idea. You think people will be down with it? Is that a good or bad pitch? That, you know, we did it with the Japanese, and they're okay. They're fine. We did, you know, we're not talking about nuking racists. I mean, that's what we did to the Japanese in Japan. That's real bad. But the Japanese Americans, we put them in camps. You know, we put them in camps and kept an eye on them. And maybe that's what we should do with our racist Americans. Maybe that's, you know, that is definitely what Twitter would do. A good half of Twitter. Twitter is crazy because it's, you know, people are engaged in a culture war, this sort of war that's going on, a war of words, you know, war of ideas, a war of it. And it's fascinating because you could see the sort of, the behavior is fascinating to me, you know. And this is so ridiculous, recounting Twitter conflicts. Like, what kind of useless bullshit is this? Is this what happens when you spend too much time on social media? I think yes it is. This is what happens when I spend too much time on Twitter because I'm trying to increase my engagement. I'm trying to increase my followers. That's supposed to mean something. I'm trying to build a fan base. Blah, blah, blah. And so I'm on Twitter. I engage. But I'm not like a troll. You know what I mean? Like, I don't find any joy in trying to hurt people or whatever. But I have a quip. I might have a quip or two. I might have a quip, or I might see something happening and just kind of jump in, you know? Just especially with comedy, I think it's pretty funny. For example, the big thing that just happened now is that Milo Yiannopoulos is booked for Legion of Skanks at the Creek in the Cave, and everybody's going, rah, rah, boycott Creek. And Milo Yiannopoulos, all I know about the guy is that he was banned. He used to be Breitbart guy. You know, he was a provocateur. he's a gay guy. I mean, like, I don't know anything about it, but people are full on convinced that he's like, he is a Nazi. That's what the full Nazi. He, outed trans guy, pedophile, rad, blah. And like, I don't know. Like, when I looked into the pedophile thing, it turned out he was the victim. He was the kid in the situation. They're saying he's a pedophilia apologist because he said that, it wasn't that bad when he was a kid, and maybe, and he wasn't, but it's because he was trying to, like, I mean, I don't know. Listen, all this stuff does is make me curious. And so now I'm like, I'm going to go listen to Milo Yiannopoulos for a bit and see what it's about. And I did, okay? I did Twitter. I hope you're happy. That's what you drove me to. You drove me to listening to Milo, all right? And you know what? It wasn't that bad. I don't know what to say. I mean, I listened to an interview he just did with fucking Jordan Peterson, which is also problematic, for people on the. But I don't. Whatever. Jordan Peterson's just like a dorky. He's a guy. The psychology professor. He said some stuff that needed to be said to young men, and he also said some other stuff that might have needed to be said about the enforcement of language. Right. And then it turned into a trans thing because it was about pronouns, and people regarded him as, I don't know, I guess he's a right-wing, alt-right adjacent, patriarchal, like all these bad things. That's also what pushed me to being curious about Jordan Peterson, okay? And I was like, hey, this isn't that bad. That's what happens. I was on Twitter I wasn't defending Joe Rogan, but someone was talking about Joe Rogan saying, we shouldn't deplatform people, we should talk to them. But then the person who was against that was saying, oh, he wants to talk to Nazis. You shouldn't engage Nazis ever. And it's just weird that it just goes right to Nazis, right? Goes right to Nazis. Like, and that is something else. Curiously, I remember a scene between Louis C.K. and Nick DiPaolo on Louis' show, Louis, when they're having a political argument, and then Louis inevitably calls Nick DiPaolo a Nazi, and then Nick DiPaolo's like, dude, my fucking grandpa fought in the war. He fought fucking Nazis. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, why does it always go to Nazis with you guys? And then Louis' like, because that's what it is. And in a way, that is an interesting breakdown of the left-right dynamic. I mean, that was years ago. That was before Trump, right? That was before the resistance. But, that it's like this similar. And now Louis is problematic, right? Louis is problematic because he jerked off in front of all those ladies, right? Jerked off in front of those ladies. People don't want him. People don't want his comedy. They don't think he's a good comedian anymore. Back then, he was lauded and praised. He was one of the first people I saw calling Trump Hitler. I got an email from Louis C.K., and he's like, Trump is Hitler. I was like, what? What? Louis? What the fuck is going on? And then after that, the fucking jerking off shit came out, and I was like, oh. Except in New York, it was kind of a well-known secret, honestly, that Louis was a jerker. People knew it, but he wasn't like a raper. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like a diddler or a raper or a drugger or any of those things. But he was a jerker. He was a jerker. He's guilty of anything. He's guilty of jerking. Okay, and that is true, and that is gross. It's gross. I don't know what to say. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know about. I just know that the dude admitted it. He's upfront about it, and it wasn't on the scale of a Weinstein or a Cosby. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a crime. I don't think there was a crime. You know what I'm saying? It was just, bad taste. Maybe, did he abuse his power? I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's in people's minds. I think that's the one thing, is that it seems like people think they know what's in people's minds online. You know what I mean? Like, everybody thinks they know that this person at heart is an evil person, a Nazi, unredeemable. Like, so Milo Yiannopoulos, he said that shit about him and the priest, right? He fucked a priest. The priest fucked him or whatever when he was 13 or 14 or some shit, when he was a teenager, right? And then when he talked to Jordan Peterson fucking confronted him about, like, dude, you're a kid. Like, there's no way you could have been, there's no way you could have been a grown-up about the situation, and your feelings about that shit can't possibly be the same now as it was back then. And Milo admitted that that he did change his mind, and the reason was because he has a stepson And he fucking loves his stepson, and his stepson's 16. His stepson's older than he was, and he's like, oh shit, dude, this is a kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's grown. He's fucking lived life. You know what I mean? He's got a kid in his life, and then he's like, dude, this is a fucking kid. I was a kid. Like, he's just making the connection, and he's like, shit, like I shouldn't have said that. You know, he felt remorse for saying it, and he was, but he's not like contrite and sorry. He's just like, I was wrong. You know, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So now, I'm gonna get banned. No, look, I'm not going to get banned because I don't have any money. I don't have any success. There's no reason to ban me. There's no reason. And I wonder if that's why people join the side of good, or what they perceive to be good, right? Because they're not really, they want to blow up too. Everybody wants to blow up, be viral. Yeah, be noticed. And yeah, because could it be because we're hooked on these machines like the Twitter and the Instagram, all these little tiny boxes that are designed to trigger our dopamine response and the addiction and the satisfaction of getting a response and a like. And I love it. I love getting likes. And that's the thing about Twitter, and Instagram. And it's super addictive. And please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm trying to grow my numbers. But it's also, I recognize what's going on. In a way, it's kind of like, I have a stash of like really good cocaine, and I'm administering it medicinally. Like I'm like, here you go, guys. It's just for the people, for the good of the community. I'm administering coke. You get back. Meanwhile, I'm having a little here. I'm having a little here. I like coke. I'm starting to like it a little bit too, and I have it with the people. I'm there with the people, having the coke, sharing the coke, giving them that. But after a while, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. It's my coke. Why should I? I feel like I'll start like hoarding the coke. Maybe I'll start cutting the coke. The coke I share won't be as pure as my head stash coke. You know what I'm saying? Like, soon I have my own coke. Maybe what I need to do is not have all these fuckers taking my coke anymore. I feel like it's a spiral, right, into addiction. At least for me, because I'm a compulsive, addictive person, so I know that that's in store. And it's ironic that you got all these people online who are judging each other's mental states, using a device that is completely bad for their mental health. And at the same time, we have no real inkling at all about mental health in this country. We don't know anything about it. We know nothing. I mean, we know something. We know psychiatry. We know pills. We know that stuff. We don't know anything, right? It's all just kind of anecdotal stories. It's stigmatized kind of, you know what I mean? There's people, we have real problems, crises involving mental health. The shooting, depression, the rising rates of suicide, anxiety, depression, white males dying off suicide, number one cause of death amongst white males. Depression is rampant. Like anxiety, people are on pills. People are pilled up. The kids are pilled up. How do you think they're going to be like when they're adults? Everybody's pilled up, right? And so what the fuck? Like, how do we make sense of it when there's nothing, no leadership? There's no secretary of mental health. The fucking president is a stable genius, so he's not going to help us there. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody. And let's look at what we do have. We have a commercial society, right? Commercial society. What does the commercial society say about, mental health? Well, it says that, you should just go for whatever you want. Go for your dreams. Live your dreams. Go for whatever you want. You want that iPhone? Get it. You want that car? Get it. You want that? Get it. Just get it, because just go for it because it feels good, and that's healthy. That's good. And not restricting yourself, restricting somebody from doing what they want. That's unhealthy, right? So the parents, they're critiqued now for if you punish your kid for doing something, you're saying you're restrictive, or your kid wants to switch genders, you're like, do it. You let him do it. Your kid wants to do this or that, you let him do it. The kids, right? The kids are fucking, the parents come in with the kids to the teachers and go, what are you doing wrong with my kid? Instead of siding with the teacher, and being an authority figure against their kid, they're siding with the kid. they want to be kids too. We're all infantilized. We're all kept in a sort of adolescent state where we're constantly sort of seeing who's popular and who's not a good look and how does it look, and we don't want to be shunned, and you also want to keep up with the Joneses. You want to have the nice stuff, but then you also want to be woke, and you want to be this, and you want to be a lot of just like presentation, a lot of making sure people see that I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Right? I'm a good person. I'm not involved in a military-industrial complex. My tax dollars aren't going into bombing the shit out of children in Yemen, right? With parts that say fucking Boeing on them or whatever, paid for by the U.S. government. You know what I'm saying? You're like, that's not me. I'm a good person. I don't have a phone that's built with coltan that's mined in the Congo by children, little tiny children, because the mines are so short. You know, you need little kids in there. And in order to make sure the kids mine the coltan, you need warlords to, fight over the territory. And then you pay off these warlords and that warlords. And you got to make sure the government's destabilized, because you don't want the government to come in and be like, hey, we should nationalize the mines and, maybe give some of this wealth to the people. You don't want that. You want to just divvy it up amongst warlords and have them use child soldiers / miners to go after the coltan, ship that coltan to China, right, where they're going to turn it into materials for our devices. And then little children there can put the device. I've done this rant before, guys. You know that about the children. So, I'm a good person. That's what I'm a good person. We're trying to struggle. And meanwhile, we completely lack the tools as a society to understand not what a good person is, because I feel like that's something I feel like we got a handle on that. We know what a real good person is, and I think that's the pain felt in the contradiction of who we are as Americans, right? We're supposed to be lovers of freedom and liberty. We're supposed to bring freedom and liberty, and at the same time, we really bring death. That's what we do. Or overseas, we bring death, and then we foster death and madness here at home, right? We don't have any health care for people. We don't offer mental health care. We certainly lack the infrastructure that we need to compete with these rising countries that are our competition soon, or whatever it is that we're saying is all threatening about them. We're not doing shit domestically to compete with them, so it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, it makes sense in the sense that it seems like it's just kind of, let's run this motherfucker to the ground, kind of a mentality. You know what I'm saying? Let's just fucking. It's like if you have a car, you got an old-ass car, you don't give a fuck about, you're just going to run it into the ground. You don't give a fuck. At some point, it's going to break down. You're going to leave it. Or, fuck it, tow it. I don't give a fuck. Don't pay off your tickets. I don't pay shit. I don't pay my payments. Repo it. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Burn it all. Yeah, milk it and burn it. That's the mentality we have. So then what's the point of why build stuff? Why build a mental health infrastructure? Why make sure that people don't go nuts in the face of the rapidly changing technology, the rampant materialism that's insatiable? You're never going to get enough. There's no way you can ever get enough. So then you'll never be happy. So then we don't have the tools to figure out, what does that mean? What does it even mean? We don't even know what it means to be happy. We don't even understand, And then, there's me. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy going through this world trying to figure this shit out, For me, I have my aunt to thank for the insight into mental health. She took me to a therapist when I was like pretty young, like 8 years old. I mean, it was 8 years old. It was after the whole thing happened. I told the story about the eggs and my mom, finding out about my mom in Korea and then coming back home. My dad, so around that period, my aunt was like, this kid needs therapy. So she took me to a therapist. So I saw a therapist for a while, and I guess the therapist ended up telling her that I needed to really be with my dad, even though, my dad was not the best dad. I was having like a real identity crisis about, I needed a parent in my life, and my dad would be that figure. So I don't know if that was for the best or not. I mean, maybe I would have acted up, been crazier. I was like a 9-year-old kid, I was fucking ditching school. I was like, I didn't give a fuck, everybody turned against me. Right. And, but I think her taking me to that therapist opened me up to the idea of therapy, because I became a psychology major. I was interested in psychology, mental health, taking psychology, I learned a few things, but not a lot. I mean, the things that I learned about psychology were that there are many competing theories as to why there are mental disorders, but no one can really agree on which is the right one. And it may be that there is no one correct answer. For instance, there is a whole school that came out of Freud, right, which is the analytic model, which is the idea that there's an unconscious, and our unconscious or subconscious or whatever, like the things that are not in our conscious mind, they're underlying things that are going on that maybe if we bring to the surface, that will lead to mental health, or maybe just say mental disorders come from something in the unconscious bothering you, right? Like repressed memories, things like that. And then there's a cognitive behavioral school of thought that says, no, it's not the unconscious. It's really thoughts and behaviors. It's actually the conscious. It's like the stuff you do. That shit is actually what determines health or sickness. You know what I mean? Like mentally, like mental health. It's really the behaviors. It doesn't matter why it's because your mom beat you that you keep scrubbing your hands until they bleed. That's what we got to do is stop you from scrubbing your hands so much, right? Like that's the behavior. There's that, right? And then there's another school of thought that's like, whatever, man. There's all this whatever. It's just fucking brain chemistry. What we got to do is find the molecule in the brain, a specific neurotransmitter, target that, make sure you got enough, and then boom, you're done. You're fixed. It's like a vitamin C deficiency, right? We just give you more vitamin C, boom, you're back. That's and so that's where this antidepressants and the fucking benzos and all these medicines, antipsychotics, all those medicines come out of this field of neurology, biopsychology, I'm saying this sort of pharmacology, psychopharmacology, right? Like all that shit comes out of that biological model. And then there's a social model that says maybe it's not any of that stuff, but it's really like your parents or the fucking society and so on and so forth. You can see how this could go on. There was like 9 competing theories or something that actually last, and that was like 20 years ago. I don't know now. Hopefully now they've kind of whittled it down. I think now maybe there's like more evidence that supports some of the biological stuff, some of the therapy stuff. I mean, the last time I checked, what they said was you got your antidepressants, right? You got exercise, you got meditation, right? You got changing your diet, right? And all these things had effects on mental health, right? All these things and none of those are actually quite like, so like there's a study that said meditating regularly actually ended up having similar effect to taking antidepressants for a lot of people. And also exercise. Regular exercise had the similar effect for people not exercising but taking antidepressants. You know what I mean? And they're going to find more and more things. I bet socializing. I bet psychedelics, right? Microdosing. I bet, all that stuff's going to, I think, there's going to be more and more research coming out that shows that the efficacy of multiple things can help you with depression and anxiety. So it's not just one thing. It's like many things. Or maybe, a few things here and a few things here for somebody else. Maybe that's how complex we are as individuals. We have so many different things going on. There are many different factors that lead to any disorders or unhealthy mental behaviors or whatever, thoughts, any of that stuff. So for me, psychology, learning about it, the biggest thing that I learned was that I didn't trust antidepressants, so I never went on them. Never went on antidepressants, even though I probably could have used them. There was a good period of my life, like 2 solid years of heavy depression. I just smoked a lot of weed all day. I mean, I didn't really do anything, but I didn't take antidepressants. And I don't know. I just, I took this class on antidepressants, and I learned that, all psychopharmacology, like all the pills, they're found out on accident. Nobody really knows. So all that shit's like Prozac, Thorazine, all these the major pills, like they all were on accident, and then they worked backwards, and then they're like, so it's a lot of just kind of. I'm not saying that they don't know, but you know what I'm saying. They didn't know going in, and they're kind of working their way backwards. So they kind of know and don't know. The other thing I learned was that in their results for a lot of these, things like SSRIs and all that stuff, they included the placebo effect in with the success in order to claim that they had a 2/3 success rate, right? When in actuality, they had a 1/3 success rate, 1/3 placebo, and 1/3 failure. So that means placebo is just as effective as the pills for some people, not everybody. But that's got to be important, right? That must mean something. Like, to me, I'm not a fucking psychologist, but to me that means that, well, there's got to be something going on here with the placebo. Like, just the idea that they thought they were taking the medicine made them feel better. So that might have some insight into their mental health, right? Or what could help them, right? Just the fact that they could just, maybe that's why meditation works, and maybe that's why, exercise works better or worse or whatever. Like, it just works for some people and pills work for others, and that's just how it is. But to include the placebo success rate on top of the success rate for the pills, I don't know, that just seems like it's misleading to me, irresponsible. At least it did back then. So then I was like, I'm not doing it. I just, and it's been quite some time, but now I have a sort of regimen, where I meditate. I try to meditate every morning, 20 minutes. I try to exercise regularly. I self-medicate with marijuana still. I've microdosed psilocybin and LSD with pretty positive results. I did like 10-week periods of microdosing. One day, it's the James Fadiman protocol. Look it up. It's 1 day on, 2 days off for about 10 weeks, and I had very positive effects. Both me and Rami, my lovely wife-to-be, we both did it. Super positive effects. We were having real stressful, tough time because of money, all that stuff, but it really helped. It helped us kind of like, whoa, And what is that? Is that placebo? Could be. But and it could also be psychopharmacology, but we have no idea because of our sad state of affairs, the sad state of affairs of the U.S. drug war and the policy of not studying these things and learning more about the brain. And instead, we've got phones, we've got social media, we've got Twitter mobs, we've got fucking buy it, buy. Anyways, it's May, guys. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. Thank you very much for listening to me babble on and on about mental health. I guess here, the thing is, I think everybody deserves to take a shot at, whatever it is, talking to somebody, meditating, exercise, like the combination of things, that the research has found really helps, and everybody needs the opportunity to understand that, these feelings, the feelings of depression, hopelessness, all that stuff is manageable. It just takes work. That's the fucking thing. It just takes fucking work. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta just be like, I'm gonna do it because I want to live. All right? I'm gonna do it because I want to fucking live. And that is where I got to. The 2 years I was depressed as fuck. It was like 1920. When I was 1920, depressed as fuck. To the point where I was very close to killing myself. I wanted to jump in front of a train. I was about to jump in front of a train. I really was. It was like, fuck it. It would just be one split second. I could just do it right now. And I really had to think about, do I want to live or do I want to fucking die? Do I want to live? Do I want to die? I think I had also just watched Menace to Society, and there's a scene in there where he's like, Kane, do you want to live or do you want to die? And then Kane's like, I don't know. And that's the whole movie, right? And that was me. I was like, I don't know. Until I saw the train come in. I thought of myself jumping and ending it all, just being a smear on the tracks, and it's just, I don't have to deal with it. The fucking world can deal with it. And I was like, I think I would, if there was just even a thought I could have while I'm being run over by the BART, that's the train there, I'd be like, dude, you fucking pussy. I don't know, you fucking disappointment. You fucking nothing. What a waste of life. What, you had something going, at least a solid bit You know, 15 years from now, you're gonna have a solid bit, bro, if you hang in there. So you better, fucking, yeah, you know. I don't know, but I just decided, I want to live, man. I want to live, and that's word is my bond. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. Okay? So I don't want to be a pussy about it. I don't want to be a bitch about it. I want to be upfront. Yeah, I want to live. So I'm going to do a lot of stuff that I need so I don't kill myself because I am my worst enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anybody's going to take me down, it's me, right? And I know how to do it. And I've been working at it for decades, right? So I have to actively work against me, right? The shadow me, right? The outside me has to work against shadow me so that this whole thing doesn't go down the shitter. Right? Even if the civilization itself might collapse, America might collapse, asteroid might come, I can't control any of that. You know what I'm saying? None of that stuff I can control. But I can, fucking go to the gym. I can go to jiu-jitsu. I could meditate every day. I could write. I could get up on stage. I could just do all the little things that make me happy. I could, spend some time with Raimi, spend some time with Badger, spend some time with my loved ones, There's all these things that make me feel like a happy person, And those are the things we need. Great. All right. Well, I don't know what happened here. This became some kind of weird self-help thing. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for listening. I'm actually right outside a comedy show that I got to get to, so I got to run. So thank you very much for listening. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and then just get off of it. You know what I mean? Just save your mental health. But please, I just need a little bump in numbers. So just, follow me there. Find me on the web, rojankim.com. Find me on iTunes. Find me on Stitcher. Find me on YouTube, the Rojan Kim Cast. Also, I have a show next week in Koreatown, Milk Tavern, next Thursday, 8 p.m. Milk Tavern. Milk Bar? I don't know. There's a lot of Milk Bar, Milk Tavern. It's in Koreatown. If you follow me, you'll see it. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, and I hope everything is going great with you guys. And even if it's not, it's going to get better. Oh, God, I got to get better at signing off. All right, guys, bye.